All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. If you haven't already, would love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you based, and how often does non-monogamy feel nourishing for you? If you're here, my guess is maybe non-monogamy doesn't feel super nourishing. And if that's the case, you're definitely not alone. Let's see, Michael says I'm joining from outside Eugene, Oregon. I don't know that I've exactly practiced non-monogamy yet, but the Explore I've had didn't exactly register on the nourishment scale. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I'm guessing maybe for people who have been practicing, maybe they have a partner who's going on a date with someone else, maybe your mind starts spiraling. Maybe you've been in the place of wondering, what if my partner likes this new person more than me? What if I'm not enough? What if I'm doing non-monogamy wrong? So if any of those thoughts resonate, I want you to know they're incredibly common. And today I'll help you begin to shift them. Most people I work with feel jealous, insecure, or overwhelmed like 30 to 80% of the time, which is really exhausting. And what I really want to help give you some tools and frameworks to begin to transform. Let's see, Melissa says, I've had odds and ends of experiences a long time ago that wasn't so nourishing. Yeah, so would love to just invite everyone to take a deep breath, check in with yourself, and let me know in the comments what percentage of time does non-monogamy feel overwhelming, insecure, and jealousy inducing for you. I'll give you just a moment to respond and just want you to know that whatever number you type, there's nothing wrong with you. Our nervous systems are doing exactly what they're designed to do, which is to protect us. But sometimes the way our bodies protect us is actually keeping us stuck in these unhelpful patterns. So in today's event, I'm going to show you how you can move from feeling overwhelmed, jealous, and reactive to feeling calm and confident so that you can create non-monogamous relationships that feel safe, connected, and deeply nourishing. The L says for now 10% because I'm doing most of the dating, but I worry about my partner who isn't dating. Yeah, so 10% of the time struggling, but you're the one dating. That makes sense. So in this session, you're going to learn a simple science-backed way to regulate your emotions in non-monogamy. We're going to explore why traditional approaches to jealousy don't work, and we'll look at what actually does work to transform jealousy. We'll explore how to start feeling secure even when your partner is on a date with somebody else. And we'll look at a practical roadmap to transform jealousy. So here's a little agenda of where we're going in the next hour. I'm going to tell you about a special bonus that I'm going to offer to those who are here participating live. I'll tell you a little bit more about who I am and my background. We'll explore understanding jealousy and how that shows up as overwhelm in the body. I'm going to invite you to do a little somatic practice with me. And then I'll invite you into a juicier, bigger version of tonight's event. And if you have questions, feel free to write them in the chat. We'll hold most of them till the end. So that's what's to come. As a special thank you for being here live with me, I'm offering copies of this guidebook to help you create or strengthen your boundaries and agreements in 10 key areas. And I'd love to offer this to the 3 most engaged people in the room tonight because honestly, it's way more fun for me to have some discussion about all of this instead of just talking to myself for an hour. So this will be announced at the end of our time together. I'm really excited to offer this free bonus resource to whoever's showing up fully and is ready to transform and grow. So engagement looks like sharing thoughtfully in the chat when you're invited to reflect and comment. So I'm not exactly sure why you're here, but my guess is that you're either curious and just beginning to explore alternatives to monogamy to better meet your needs. Maybe you're newly open and you're looking to build resources and find tools to relate in a new way. Or maybe you are struggling but determined to find ways to make non-monogamy work for you. So would love to hear which one of these resonates. Which one are you? You can comment 1, 2, or 3 in the chat just to help me understand where you guys are at. All right, we've got a 2, newly open. Let's see, Michael says, when involved with someone in an open situation, 90% of the first week felt jealous. And after that, maybe 1 to 3% of the time felt insecure. Okay, that's a great trend. 90% to 1%. You're doing something right. All right, we've got a couple ones. Curious, just beginning to explore alternatives. Awesome. Helpful to hear what brought you here. So whatever your motivation, whatever relationship structure you practice, whether you're monogamish, you're brand new to open relationships, or you have a complex polyamorous ecosystem or something in between, this is a non-judgmental, brave space where you belong, no matter where you are on your relationship journey. All of your curiosity and questions are welcome here, and I really love creating spaces where people can engage with their authentic desires and open up and be seen and be honest. So I'm so grateful that you found your way to this little corner of the internet. And if you learned something new today or something clicks for you, I'd love to hear about it. You can say hi to me on Instagram, Aria_Diana. So let me tell you just a little bit more about myself before we get into it. I'm Aria. I use she, her pronouns. Some of my identities include polyamorous, demisexual, bisexual, and queer cisgender femme. And as a relationship coach, I help people practicing non-monogamy transform the jealousy, the insecurity, and the fear into confidence and ease. And I know how truly challenging this journey can be. I have been in the place where I was struggling 80 to 90% of the time. So if that's still you, I've definitely been there. Years ago, non-monogamy felt like an absolute emotional roller coaster for me. And I am guilty and not proud of snooping in my partner's phone for reassurance, only to feel way worse after. I would tell myself I was fine, play it cool, while secretly comparing myself to every other person they were dating. And I let jealousy and fear totally take over my body before I even realized what was happening. I got into non-monogamy thinking it was supposed to be freeing and liberating, but I felt more insecure than ever. But something shifted for me. And I think it was really when I stopped treating jealousy as something to suppress and started listening to what my body was trying to tell me. So I started using somatic practices, which are body-based techniques that help us regulate our emotions in real time so that jealousy no longer totally hijacks my brain and body. And today I can hear about my partner's date and feel genuinely at ease, and yes, often even compersion. I've learned how to set boundaries from a place of confidence instead of fear. And most importantly, I feel secure in myself no matter what's happening in my relationships. And that's exactly what I want for you. So let's talk about what's really happening when you feel jealous or insecure in non-monogamy. I like to reframe it as jealousy is a messenger, not a monster. So that tightness in your chest or that pit in your stomach, that's your body asking for safety, connection, attunement, and reassurance. And in order to transform it, we really need to pause before reacting, recognizing the sensations in our bodies, and understand what unmet need or fear is being activated in this moment. And by turning towards it, we can then respond. So instead of suppressing our emotions, we can then express it in a way that builds connection. So before we dive into this a little bit more, I want to just do a quick somatic practice so that you can actually feel what I mean. So I'm curious, for anybody, can you physically feel how jealousy shows up in your body? You can let me know in the chats if there are any sensations that you notice. And instead of just thinking about it, let's take a moment to experience how these emotions land in us. So I'm going to guide you through a short practice and you can just notice what comes up. Are you guys open for trying something with me? Yeah? Cool. All right, so before we do that, I encourage you all just to silence your phones, turn off notifications, close the extra tabs on your computer, whatever you need to do to create a little bit of quiet space for you just to be with you. And I always like to tell my clients, I see this process of meditation and being in connection with ourselves as an essential fuse lengthening practice to really help people practicing non-monogamy build inner capacity to manage the complexities of open relating. So before we can juggle complex emotional relationships with multiple people simultaneously, it's really essential that we're prioritizing a relationship with ourselves first and foremost. So I see Elle say, I feel jealousy in my body. I get quiet and small. I want to be in bed, warm, cozy to feel held. Yeah. Let's take a moment here just to get centered. I want to invite you just to remember why you joined here today, anchor into your intention. And I'm going to pause my screen share for a minute because you don't need to look at that. So, all right. So if it feels good, I want to just invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable or soften your gaze and take a couple deep breaths. Just feeling your body held in this moment in the chair. Maybe push your feet into the floor. Let's take a long, slow inhale through the nose, filling all the way up, and a nice big open mouth sigh. Do 2 more breaths like that. Long, slow inhale. Nice big release. Last one, biggest breath of the day. You can keep breathing in whatever way feels good for you. I want to invite you to bring to mind a favorite place in nature. You can imagine your body is anchored in this place, your tailbone is connected to the earth, and just begin to invite all of your senses to come alive in this place. What do you smell? There's salty ocean, fresh forest air, just breathing in the smells and the scents of the natural world. And then turn your awareness to what can you hear in this place. Maybe there's birdsong, waves crashing, the sound of wind. Really allow this place to come to life in full 3D in your imagination, bringing to mind what you can see, the textures of leaves, maybe sunshine glimmering, just noticing what you can touch. Maybe there's soft grass underneath you or grains of sand. Just notice what happens to your body in this place. Where can you soften? Just take another couple breaths here. Filling up and just releasing any tension or stress on the exhale, just breathing in the groundedness of being connected to this favorite place in the natural world. And I like to call this place a resource anchor. And I invite you to really allow your imagination to bring this place to life. And imagine this as a place that you can come back to when the world around you gets a little swirly. The natural world is always available to offer co-regulation and support if we can turn towards Mother Earth and open up to receive her care. So let's take one more big breath here. Nice big release. And keeping one foot anchored in this place, I now want to invite you to bring to mind a time when you felt jealousy or insecurity. And just check in. Where do you feel that in your body? For a lot of people, it shows up maybe as a tightness in the chest or clenching in the belly. And instead of pushing the feeling away, just notice what's here and see if you can hold steady and breathe as you explore this. And if at any point it gets overwhelming, you can return more of your awareness to that resource anchor and use that place to steady you. But if you have capacity, just stay with these feelings of jealousy and see where it shows up for you. Is it a heat rising in your face? Is it a sinking feeling? I want to just invite you to place a hand on whatever place it shows up and gently send your breath into that area. Sending warmth and care into that sensation, imagining, softening, and reminding yourself in this moment that you are safe. Also, check in as you feel into this sensation. Is there a thought or story that arises with it? We'll take just another couple moments to be here listening. One more deep breath in. Then you can gently release the visualizations. It feels good. You can roll your shoulders, take a little stretch, check the corners of your room. It's another good grounding technique. And if it feels good, would love just to hear a word or two in the chat about how you're feeling, what came up for you, any sensations or stories that you're aware of that are associated with these feelings of jealousy. I just want to say this is really the first step toward creating security in non-monogamy. Instead of fighting our emotions and pushing them down, we learn to hold them with care and try to explore how they show up and what meaning they hold for us. So I see Michael experiences agitation, can't sit still, thoughts racing and are looping. Melissa says, I feel jealousy in my body as agitation and freeze. Elle experiences a hardening near my heart, being scared but acting tough. Yeah. Yeah, thank you all for sharing. So let me share my screen again. And let's talk about some jealousy management approaches that for sure don't work now that you've had a chance to check in with your body. So most people, when jealousy arises, do something like suppressing it or ignoring it. Many people try to push jealousy away, believing they shouldn't feel it. Maybe they're trying to play it cool, but this just get over it or pretend it doesn't exist mentality often backfires, leading to more intense emotional reactions later. So let's say your partner goes on a date and you feel that familiar sinking feeling in your stomach and you tell yourself, I should be fine with this. I shouldn't feel jealous. So you maybe force a smile and pretend everything is okay. And then the next morning you wake up feeling even worse, like jealousy has grown into resentment overnight. And that's because suppressing jealousy doesn't make it go away. It just gets bigger over time. And this is one of the ways that people unknowingly keep themselves stuck. Another common thing that I see is people blame or try to control others. So some people will try to prevent jealousy by controlling a partner's behavior, like setting restrictive rules or making demands, telling each other what they can and can't do. And this way of operating often creates resentment and doesn't actually address the underlying insecurity. Some people take more of a shaming or pathologizing approach, viewing jealousy as either a fixed identity, like I'm a jealous person, or a personality flaw, which can lead to guilt and self-judgment and hopelessness rather than curiosity and growth. And finally, relying solely on logic or reassurance, many people focus on rationalizing jealousy, like you have no reason to feel this way, or seeking endless reassurance from a partner. And while these may help temporarily, they don't resolve the deeper emotional and nervous system responses. So let me know in the chat if any of these are how you're currently approaching jealousy. I found both personally and professionally that none of these approaches work long term to actually move through the challenging feelings. So what actually works to transform jealousy? Nervous system regulation, learning to recognize jealousy as a stress response, and then practicing using somatic tools like breath work, grounding, or self-soothing to calm the body before reacting. I see someone says +1 to using logic. I'm married to an engineer. It's his favorite way to deal with everything. Yeah, okay, I get that. So here's another way to actually transform jealousy, looking at the root causes and trying to understand what jealousy is signaling. Usually there's some unmet needs, fears of abandonment, attachment wounds, or past experiences that are getting triggered in the present moment. So you can imagine this image on screen as a woman hugging her inner child who's probably throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum when she sees the person she loves most in the world getting excited about someone who is not her. So when we can turn towards that younger part of us and meet them with care, it miraculously changes things. I see Michael says, I also relied on logic and reassurance early on until I learned to just accept it. Melissa says, I find turning toward my own life, the things that I love, and really indulging there can help me balance the feelings enough to be with them. A big part of jealousy is fear. I'm not enough and not good enough. Yeah, I've been there for sure. So, yeah, that kind of leads into this next one, building the emotional awareness. We really want to learn to name, sit with, and process jealousy rather than reactive impulsively and saying hurtful things when we're really activated. And when we can shift from reacting automatically to thoughtfully responding, we can stop feeling like jealousy is running the show. Next thing, this is the super important one, expanding the capacity for multiple truths. So we really need to practice holding steady as we stretch to be with both the discomfort and the joy of non-monogamous relationships simultaneously. So one part of me loves my partner, wants them to be happy, and another part of me is finding it very difficult to think about them on a date with someone else. So we have to practice holding these multiple truths at once and sitting with the kind of the stretch there. So parts work or internal family systems is one modality that I work with to help these disparate parts of yourself come into alignment and stop feeling like they're at war with each other, so that the part that wants freedom and the part that craves security can coexist within you without causing so much struggle. I'm going to drop a little link in the chat to some more non-monogamous hard truths that I shared recently on my Instagram, because there's a lot of things that we have to practice holding simultaneously. Finally, the last way to work with jealousy is empowered communication, learning how to express our jealousy in a way that fosters connection and empathy instead of control. So instead of communicating from that place of hurt or defensiveness, we need to first practice coming back to center, cooling off, getting curious, and then communicating from a grounded place where we're in touch with our feelings, our needs, our observations, and we can make clear requests that are more likely to be heard and responded to. So in short, the traditional approaches of suppressing, controlling, rationalizing jealousy are not nearly as effective as working on nervous system awareness, self-inquiry, emotional processing, and relational communication. So again, want to invite you to take a deep breath, check in with yourself, and let me know in the comments when you feel pain or a sense of emotional discomfort. Do you create space for those physical sensations or emotions, or do you distract yourself, override them, or resist them? I see Elle says, I recently started naming the jealousy. Simply saying, I'm jealous right now has helped me feel less alone while sitting with the feelings. Not that I expect my partners to fix it, but saying it means it's not a dirty secret anymore. Beautiful. Yeah. Being able to share that is so vulnerable and also such a good practice. So nice work. If you struggle with jealousy and insecurity in non-monogamy, I want you to know that your emotional responses are valid, understandable, and manageable, but they do require compassionate attention, not avoidance. Yeah, I'm seeing Katya say I try to distract myself. So I'd encourage you to see if you can focus on the feelings and be with them and turn towards those uncomfortable feelings so that we can practice the self-soothing and the regulation that helps us come back into a state of being able to move through our day curious and making choices that are aligned with our values. So just want to normalize that feeling discomfort in non-monogamy is so common. No one is immune to it. Our thoughts and our feelings are deeply connected, and the way you engage with your thoughts and your feelings has a powerful effect on your emotional state. I see Michael says, I either create space or I distract and disassociate. I'm not clear on the pattern around which I choose. Yeah. Melissa says, I'm pretty good at making space for them eventually. In the moment, it can be a little harder, and I don't know how to make space when I'm with other people. I love the idea of multiple feelings, scared of the jealousy, but joy that my partners are happy and getting what they need. Yeah. All right. So here's another question for you. I want to invite you to keep breathing as we explore this. Let me know in the comments when you experience these big emotions, does it come with negative self talk or intrusive thoughts? And do you tend to believe those stories or do you fact check them? And just want to reiterate that your thoughts can really influence your emotions. And it's important to remember that thoughts are much easier to shift than our emotions, which means you actually have a way to reduce suffering when jealousy arises. So, for example, a thought that reinforces jealousy sounds like, my partner is probably going to leave me for them. A thought that eases jealousy sounds like, my partner's connection with someone else doesn't erase their love for me. So, when you experience a pang of jealousy while your partner's on a date, you have a choice. You can feed the fear-based narrative that intensifies that emotional distress, or you can practice redirecting your thoughts towards grounded, reality-based perspectives that help you feel more secure. Yeah, Katya, I see you. Negative self-talk, for example, I'm not enough. Big emotions often drown out all my inner voices, and I have to make space to hear those voices and listen all the way through so I can be with them and hear what they need. Yeah, practicing creating that space to really listen and be like, what is here? Okay, there's a part that's afraid, there's a part that's scared, and really creating space for all of these parts of us to be at the table and learning to disrupt the thought, feeling, meaning spiral is such a game changer. So, here are 5 ways that can help you start feeling a little bit more secure: mindset shifts, self regulation strategies, and emotional framing that helps us build long term security, even when our partner is on a date with someone else. Yes, and I just see my assistant put the link in the chat. I'm going to be publishing a list of 15 ways to cultivate inner security in an upcoming blog post. So, if you want to get that in your email, you can sign up there. I send out a weekly newsletter about all of these kind of topics. So, first thing, noticing when feelings, right, the sensations in the body trigger the disempowering narratives, the stories in the mind, and reality checking them. We really want to practice challenging the anxious thoughts and separating them from actual reality so that we're not letting old wounds and disempowering stories dictate the present moment and take over our emotional state. The second thing, pulling your energy back to yourself. Rather than hyper fixating on your partner's absence, focus on cultivating your own joy, autonomy, and positive experiences. I like to ask my clients, what used to bring you pleasure before you even knew your partner? What did you love doing as a kid? Who is one friend whose relationship you really value, but maybe you've neglected recently? Can you make plans with them? Can you make plans of your own? Even if it's a date with yourself that feels nourishing. So you're not sitting around and watching the clock and letting those thoughts spiral. Root into your values. Reconnect with why you chose non monogamy: freedom, autonomy, interdependence, creativity, intention, and focus on how this aligns with your deeper relationship philosophy. You could consider writing a list about all the things you're grateful for that come with non-monogamy that you can look back on when you're like, this isn't so fun right now. Good to anchor into why are we doing this? Makes it a lot easier. We also want to practice self-soothing. So breath work, movement, grounding exercises all help us regulate our nervous system and move out of that hyper aroused state and back into a state of being regulated and calm and able to make choices. And finally, it's important that we learn to recognize the impermanence of emotions. Feelings of insecurity and jealousy come in waves. We can acknowledge their temporary nature, which helps us move through them more easily. Jealousy is not an identity, not a fixed state. It's just like any other emotion. And the more that we can turn towards it, the easier it gets to move through it. So this really does take intentional work and practice, but I want you to think about your own emotional regulation project as a path that will lead you towards greater liberation, happiness, and personal empowerment. And the key word here is project. This doesn't happen overnight or by watching some YouTube videos or by coming to one class. I like to think of emotional regulation as an ongoing practice, not a destination. So each time you practice meeting jealousy with curiosity and care, you're rewiring your nervous system for safety. And this is not a project that you have to undergo alone. I would love to help you. So regulation isn't about becoming unshakable. It's about learning how to steady yourself when you are shaken. And it's a skill that's worth cultivating no matter what kind of relationships you choose. So nervous system regulation is one of the core pillars of all of my coaching work, whether that's working one-on-one with couples, triads, polycules, or in my group coaching program, because learning to self-regulate and expanding our nervous system capacity are really essential foundations that make it possible for us to have choices about how we respond in any situation, not just the challenges of non-monogamy. And I just want to say, if you're not interested in learning how to regulate your emotions, it will create relational challenges, not just in non-monogamy, but in relationships of all types. But non-monogamy definitely tends to surface these challenges more vividly because it requires that we rewrite the stories that we've been taught about love, security, and belonging, relying on exclusivity. So this can feel overwhelming and a big paradigm shift, but it's also an opportunity for profound growth. So I just want to say, you are not broken because you feel jealous. You're human. The goal isn't to eliminate jealousy, but to develop the tools to navigate it more skillfully. So if this has been resonating, you might be wondering, okay, I get that I need to regulate my emotions, shift my mindset, but how do I actually practice this in my daily life? The truth is, just understanding these concepts isn't enough. If you don't have a solid embodied strategy, non-monogamy can continue to feel overwhelming, and that resentment can quietly build if we're not sure how to express ourselves in a way that helps us meet our needs for safety and belonging. And that's what I want to help you avoid. And that's exactly why I created Nourishing Non-Monogamy, my group coaching program. If you're ready to break free from the overwhelm and truly transform jealousy and insecurity, I've created a proven pathway that gives you the tools, the support, and the community to practice these skills in a really clear and structured way. If you're ready to move from a place of overwhelm and anxiety into confidence and ease, I want to just invite you to imagine this. It's 3 months from now. You no longer spiral when your partner's on a date with someone else. You know exactly how to self-regulate when those big emotions arise. You've practiced new communication tools to express yourself more effectively. And instead of feeling sick with anxiety, you feel calm, clear, and confident. So that's the transformation that my clients experience inside Nourishing Non-Monogamy, the space for personalized coaching and group support. So you're never alone on this journey. You get a community of open-hearted people who truly get what you're going through. And you get a toolkit of practical exercises and frameworks to drive both self and relational growth. So here's the path that I've refined. It's my signature Nourish framework that I will guide you through over the 12 weeks. And it's a clear journey from start to finish, designed to create healthy relationship structures of all styles. We start by nurturing our creativity and curiosity, moving away from monogamous mindset and really laying the groundwork to explore new relationship paradigms with imagination. We work on opening our emotional capacity, bringing more somatic awareness to how the 3 nervous system states show up for each of you, tracking your trigger patterns, practicing self-regulation and co-regulation techniques. We work on understanding expectations through clear communication, recognizing your default communication approach, practicing ways to express yourself that help you feel seen and heard while validating other people's differences, setting boundaries and co-creating agreements with confidence. We work on reworking patterns of codependency and jealousy. So much of monogamous culture teaches us to become one with our partners. We really want to shift from that enmeshment to healthy differentiation and transform jealousy into opportunities for growth and connection. Intentional repair and cultivating resilience. I help you develop tools for rebuilding trust and connection after conflict and ruptures, and proactively strengthening our relationships so they can handle the discomfort. Self-confidence, sex positivity, and secure connections. We really want to embrace a positive, empowered approach to intimacy and bring healing to those younger, scared parts of you so that you can show up as your most authentic self. And finally, we close out the program with some more healing and growing of a healthy relationship ecosystem, helping you integrate everything you've learned to create thriving, sustainable connections and find nourishment in any type of open relationship ecosystem. So here's a little testimonial from David. He identified as monogamish for about a year before the group started. He says, the course and the group was great. Ari gave us so many tools and exercises to help with our relationships, with ourselves, with others, and our bodies. I highly recommend this, whatever your relationship preference or explorations. So we gather in community for 2 hours for 12 Wednesdays, late afternoon or early evening, depending on your time zone, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. And this is really an online group coaching program to give you a clear roadmap to help skip the overwhelm, jealousy, insecurity, and disorientation and move more quickly to the fun, juicy, joyful parts of non-monogamy and polyamory. So here's a little case study. I want to tell you a real story about Elle. And I know we have someone else named Elle in here, different Elle. Elle was in my spring 2024 group, and she joined the program 7 years into her journey of open relating and felt weighed down by challenges that she didn't know how to navigate on her own. So for a long time, non-monogamy for Elle meant solely focusing on mitigating anxiety and her scarcity-based fears and recurring feelings of unworthiness. She would often struggle and push through tough non-monogamy conversations, often feeling both dysregulated and ashamed of her big feelings, which she continued to suppress. And through the program, with intentional practice of new regulation and communication tools, she began to cultivate more of a desire-based mindset toward non-monogamy, which helped her unlock her own vision for expansive, nourishing connections. And by the end of the program, she felt less anxious when her partner was on dates, more confident advocating for herself and having those tender conversations with new agreements that aligned with what she actually needed to build more safety so she could finally relax and actually enjoy herself. Elle's story is powerful because it's a reminder that you don't have to struggle for years before feeling at ease with non-monogamy. In just 3 months of intentional practice, she experienced the kind of security and confidence that she had been searching for 7 years. So the real question is, how long do you want to wait and hang out in this place of jealousy and insecurity before you start moving towards security and feeling grounded in your relationships? So you have a choice to really start shifting things today. And you could do what Elle did for years, which was kind of like white knuckling her way through the jealousy, wondering if she'd ever feel secure. Or you could hop on this journey with a proven path with a certified field guide who can show you how to cultivate more confidence, more ease, and more joy. So this is really my hope for all of you, that you can shortcut the struggle and the challenges and get to a place much more quickly where things feel easeful. So what does it cost to work with me? Usually 25 hours of my one-on-one coaching is $4,500, plus all of the bonus content that I'm going to tell you about in a minute, and the chat support for 12 weeks is another $700. So the total course value is $5,200, but I really want to empower you with all of the skills and the tools that I so desperately needed at the beginning of my own journey. And I really want this information to be accessible. So the standard pricing with lifetime access to the entire program is $1,797. And to make it even more accessible, I offer payment plans. You can break it up into 5 payments of $379. And if you bring a partner or partners, you can each save $300. So it's single payment of $1,497 or 5 payments of $309. And if you do the math, it works out to less than the cost of weekly therapy with more than twice as much support. So it's 12 weeks of expert-led group guidance. We have 2-hour live learning sessions each week. You also get 3 one-on-one calls with me for custom personalized support to help you work through any issues that we haven't covered as a group. There's robust support between the weekly calls in our group discussion channels. We do 2 internal family system parts work and breath work healing experiences to really soothe the parts of you that struggle with insecurity and jealousy and fear of abandonment. You'll leave with a custom map of your own nervous system to understand your triggered and resource states and identify the regulation strategies that really work for you. You'll get somatic practices, meditations, and reflection prompts to help you deepen your self-awareness and help you grow in alignment with your values. You'll leave with a community of peers who really understand your struggles, practical tools and frameworks that improve relationships of all types, and you get lifetime access to all the course materials. So if you're ready to say yes, if you want to stop feeling overwhelmed by jealousy, you need the right tools and support, and that's exactly what this program is all about. The next step is fill out the onboarding form, and there are limited seats to keep this experience intimate. So if this is calling to you, the link should be in the chat. And I really try to make this program accessible, but if pricing is the main barrier to participation and you think this experience would greatly improve your life, I do offer some partial scholarships and longer payment plans. So fill out the form and select scholarship. Let me know what's feasible for you and we can talk about it. I'm also offering a special pay in full bonus for anyone who signs up before 6 p.m. PST and chooses the pay in full option on that form. You'll get a free 55-minute coaching session with me, which is $80 value. So if you're feeling like this program could be supportive for you in the season you're in, there's really nothing to lose. I do offer a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if after the first 2 group classes, you've done some of the work, you've decided that the program's actually not a good fit, I'll gladly give you a full refund. So here's a little testimonial from Lucy, who was in the spring cohort last year. She said, this course delivered exactly what I was hoping it would, and then some. I got clear on what it is I'm seeking from my relationship structures, my own needs for feeling safe in a connection, confidence to assert those needs, and tools for conversation and navigating conflict. I feel so much more comfortable in my non-monogamous journey and more capable of navigating inevitable road bumps as they arise. So to do non-monogamy well really requires that we confront both deeply ingrained societal norms as well as personal insecurities. And sustainable non-monogamous relationships really require a commitment to personal and relational growth, healing and unlearning. So if you're ready to commit to this path of self-growth, it's definitely not for the faint of heart to go on this journey as non-monogamous people, but it is so good when we break through the fear and start developing new skills to regulate our emotions and communicate effectively so we can really thrive in our relationships. And I just want to say it is indeed possible to feel safe, supported, secure, and calm while you and or your partners have multiple loving, sexual, or emotionally intimate relationships simultaneously. If you find yourself in a place of wondering if it's possible or struggling a good portion of the time, just want to remind you that it is totally possible to get to this place of feeling confident and empowered. And I think for a long time of practicing non-monogamy, I didn't fully believe it was possible. And it's really important to firmly plant this seed of hope in your brain and your body, because I think it's so easy to focus on the fear and what we don't want. And I really challenge all of you to hold the vision of what your ideal future looks like, and then commit to doing the self-work and the relational work needed to get there. So it is possible. I'm here to help you get to that dreamy place because I know without a doubt there are a lot of different ways to do non-monogamy that feel safe and abundant and loving and healing and connective and pleasurable. So I know you might be thinking, I have specific questions about non-monogamy. Will they be addressed? Yes, as part of this 12-week program, like I said, everyone gets 3 one-on-one calls with me. So you have dedicated time and space for personalized coaching, in addition to the group calls where there's also space for dialogue. That's why this program is limited. It is first come, first serve. And in addition to the one-on-one support you receive in the program, I'm also offering this free bonus. If you complete the form tonight, you can submit your vulnerable question and get a custom Q&A essay before the program even begins, published anonymously on that weekly Substack, which was in the chat. You'll also get 12 weeks access to this newsletter, which has over 50 long-form articles to support your journey, so you can hear about the other questions people are asking that maybe you haven't even thought to ask yourself. And here's another little testimonial from Allison, who self-identified as polycurious when we began. She said, "I feel so much more confident and capable after completing this course. It's an exciting journey, and I am so much clearer about my limits and desires." Here's another question I get. What if I decide non-monogamy isn't actually right for me? What I've heard from multiple people is that what we cover in this program really enhances any relationship type. So Alicia, who is monogamish, said the tools and insights I've gained from this program are so versatile, they can really enhance any type of relationship, not just the non-monogamous ones. These experiences have been invaluable and greatly contributed to my personal growth. And I just want to say other participants have reported better relationships with family, friends, roommates, colleagues, and kids as a result of this program. Learning how to communicate and regulate our emotions can help us in all parts of life. So here's the onboarding form again. If you sign up tonight before 6 p.m., which is about 40 minutes from now, you get the bonuses. Again, the payment options are there on screen. Standard price of $17.97, 5 payments are $3.79, or bring a partner and save. Let's see, so here's the dates again, March 12th to June 4th. If you don't have time to do this whole program live, don't worry, the recordings are shared within 24 hours. You have access forever, and there is a buddy system where I intuitively pair you with other folks in the program as kind of a little bubble of extra support. You can always check in with someone and share notes. We have an ongoing group chat with lots of different channels. You can catch up in between. I will say it is strongly recommended to honor your investment and commitment by trying to join live as much as possible so that you can contribute to the live discussions and participate in breakout rooms. Everyone really benefits from the group cohesion and trust and deepened vulnerability that's created when we all commit to showing up and participating each week for the duration of the program. So each session includes optional breakout rooms to integrate the material with peers and reflections and practices for these new frameworks in real time, and the breakout rooms aren't recorded, but if you can't make it a session or two live, don't sweat it. Most people can't join all of them, and I totally get that. So here's a little bit about the bonus content that everyone gets access to. This is a very vulnerable 90-minute recording that my polycule and I created for the week of visibility for non-monogamy last year, exploring polyamory, insecurity, jealousy, hierarchy, metamor relationships, and more. So you can see some of the folks in my polycule, my nesting partner Sky, his other partner Bex, my sweetie Justin and his wife Selena, Sky's other partner Olivia. So that was a really fun deep dive, and you can hear about how it actually works from people who are living it. Justin and Selena, my sweetie and metamor, also led a fantastic workshop about effective co-regulation strategies to process attachment insecurities. So you'll hear from them. He's a polyamorous therapist and she's the coach. And they talk about co-regulation, cultivating trust, communication, building emotional safety, and navigating attachment insecurities. You'll get to learn from my nesting partner, Sky, who taught an amazing workshop exploring kink, safer sex, consent, and desire. And finally, you'll learn from my dear friend, Sky's other partner, Olivia, who is a licensed professional clinical counselor, in a workshop exploring trauma, attachment, our protective parts, and how to cultivate a more secure base. So those are the bonus videos. And I just want to reiterate that a decade ago, when I started on this non-monogamy journey, I was a closeted, queer, anxious people pleaser who totally avoided emotional conversations and had zero boundaries. And I never would have predicted my capacity to find nourishment in non-monogamy, let alone turn it into my career to help other people do the same. So all of that to say, I'm not special. I don't have any superhuman powers. I just realized that I had desires that I had bottled up and locked away. And I finally gave them the space to breathe and committed to looking at the parts of me that I had shame and fear around. And I committed to learning some new skills that I wasn't taught in my family of origin. So if I can do it, so can you. There are so many ways of doing non-monogamy, and I'm never advocating for a certain style of relating, but I really want to create the space for you to feel permission to honor what you actually want and need, so you can begin to show up unapologetically in a way that feels more aligned with your real desires, whatever they may be. So, this could be you after the journey. You've expanded your self awareness, you've built capacity to stay present and grounded with partners during challenging moments. You can more clearly communicate your needs, create shared agreements that help everyone feel safe and supported. You feel more empowered in your ability to craft intentional and consensual non monogamous relationships that feel meaningful and sustainable. So, whether you're curious, newly open, or struggling, no matter the reason you're here, I'd love to see you proactively invest in yourself in building stronger relationships of all structures. So, if you're serious about creating ease in non monogamy, this is your chance to get the exact support, guidance, and community that can help you. Doors are closing soon and space is limited. So, if you want to stop feeling stuck in jealousy and start building real confidence and joy, I would love to support you. The link is in the chat. And let's see, let's get to the special bonus. I saw lots of great comments, thoughtful feedback. I'm going to ask my tech support to give me a little tally. Who are we giving the free guidebooks away to? Drum roll. All right, we are giving them to Elle, Melissa, and Michael. Awesome. All right, so you three, you can email me at Aria@AriaDiana to claim your free resource. I also have your email addresses, so if I don't hear from you, I will reach out with that link. And let's open it up for Q&A now. That was a lot of talking. I'm going to just pause and read some comments. If you have any questions, you can stick them in the chat, or if you want to come off mute, we can also have a conversation. If you do come off mute, just a heads up, you will be in the recording that gets sent out to everyone. If you don't want to be in the recording, I could also edit you out, but let's see. I see a question from Elle. What size are you aiming for the group? No more than how many people? Yeah, so the last two groups were between 10 and 20 people. So that's kind of the sweet spot. Gives us enough space to keep it intimate while having robust discussions and, yeah, a lot of good conversation and kind of all the different ways of relating. What else? Other questions? I will just say, for anybody who doesn't, or who's feeling shy, doesn't want to come off mute, you can also book a free 30-minute call with me. I'll have my assistant drop the link in the chat so we can chat about anything that feels personal. Melissa says, I have a hard stop at 5:30. Thank you for a sample of the work you do. Yeah, thanks for being here, Melissa. And yeah, I'll send you that guidebook. What else? Any other questions that people are thinking about jealousy, about non-monogamy, about the group, about my work? Well, I'm going to drop these final links in the chat so that you have access to them. And if no one has any other questions, I think I'll just play a song, give you a few more moments to grab these links before we close the Zoom room. Thank you. Very informative. Appreciate it. Awesome. Well, I hope this was helpful. Look at that. We're ending right on time. I love that for us. Really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for sharing. I would love to support you if you are in a place where you're like, I really need to transform things. So feel free to reach out. Happy to book a call and chat more one-on-one. Or if you feel called, that onboarding form is there. So thank you again. Good night, everyone. Take good care. Bye.